What should every franchisor understand about working with franchisees? I think the first and foremost foundation of any franchise system is really understanding deeply the unit economics of the franchise and making sure that you have a really great grasp on revenue top line and expenses that franchisee is managing and dealing with every single day. I think having a great, strong, profitable business solves a lot of problems in franchising. And so first and foremost, focus on those unit level economics. I think secondly, and importantly, is recognizing that franchisees are some of the bravest people that, frankly, I've ever met. At Anytime Fitness, we have 1,600 franchisees domestically and hundreds more globally. And when you think about, they've really put their future prosperity in your hands. And so serving them selflessly and really having a great foundation of support for those franchisees is incredibly, incredibly important, because really it's your job to serve them and make sure that they have great, strong, prosperous futures. I'm actually in the midst of one of the biggest challenges of my personal career here. With Anytime Fitness, we have over 4,000 locations globally. Like I said, 1,600 franchisees domestically and over 30 different masters across the globe. And we're in the midst of a brand repositioning. So really evolving from where we were from a convenience-based model to one that's really more focused on coaching and holistic health and wellness. And when you think about trying to evolve a system of that size, again, not just domestically, but globally, it's a real difficult challenge, and especially in the fitness industry that has been changing so rapidly, especially over this last decade or so, now with the apps and all the kind of digital emergence that's out there. So it's essential that any franchise keep up with the consumer trends in the marketplace, and that means change. And when you're bringing change forward, really bringing the voice of the franchisee forward in that conversation, and not just appealing to their minds in terms of a business case and making sure that everybody understands the case for change and also the upside opportunity, but also really gathering their hearts and getting them, emotionally invested in understanding why you need to evolve and move forward in a different way. It's hard. Nobody likes change, right? Like we don't, staying the status quo is comfortable for us. But in a franchise system, it's really about kind of that change management and helping, like I said, hands, hearts, and heads kind of come along with you and evolve that. We're in the midst of it right now, and it's definitely a challenge. I think the biggest lesson in it for me has been, we talk a lot about something called CAT here at Self-Esteem Brands, and that's communication, alignment, and trust. And forming that communication, talking to them often, bringing them along, admitting when you have missteps, getting that alignment. Trust ends up being that foundation of how you're able to, connect and move a system of that size forward. So it's not easy. And like I said, we've certainly had missteps, but bringing along the franchisees' heads and hearts is really, really important. Yeah, gosh, I was just talking to a small business the other day that was considering franchising, and the advice I gave them was, first of all, you have to make sure you have a solid business model, and it can't be a business model that you are the only one that knows how to run. So the advice I gave her at the time was, test and try this out with some trusted partners. Have them open locations in different areas and different geographies. See what works for you. See where it doesn't work, because learning what doesn't work also is as important as knowing what does work. So test and try with a few locations first. Design your operations for the average player. Everybody thinks you're going to have franchisees that are super advanced and are going to execute perfectly, but the reality is you don't. You get a wide range of franchisees who come into your business. And so making sure your operations are designed for the average person that's going to be purchasing your business, I think is really, really important. And finally, choose your franchisees wisely. Franchisees and franchisor relationships are a lot like a marriage. You are in them for a long time, and they take work. And like I said, communication, alignment, and trust. And so your franchisees, especially your first few franchisees that are going to demonstrate the success of your business, are super, super important that you select them very, very well. franchisees, before they join a brand, should first of all spend a lot of time in the item 19 of the FDD, understand the economics of the business, understand not only the operating requirements, but also the renewal and the refresh requirements. Because if you get into this business and you've invested a lot of money, you also want to know what the longevity of that business starts to look like and what those requirements are. The last thing you want to do is get into a business and then realize, oh gosh, I'm going to owe X dollars down the line as I have to refresh, remodel, those types of things in a business. So make sure that you understand the business well before you get into it. Make sure you're well capitalized. As we just saw in this last year in the pandemic, unexpected things arise and you need to be prepared to weather some storms. So if you're getting into a franchise and feeling like you're getting in by the skin of your teeth, I would actually hold off and instead wait until you have the capital you need to be able to weather a 6-month, a 12-month storm if something should arise. You want to make sure that you're really, really well capitalized. And like I said before, a franchise is a lot like a marriage. You should date your franchisor for a little bit. Go to their corporate offices, meet them, make sure you like the people you'll be working with, make sure you understand kind of the ins and outs of the corporate office. Spend some time with other franchisees and get their recommendations. Would they buy the franchise again? There's no more honest or truer truth than you can get from somebody who's been operating the business for a while. So spend some time vetting them. Make sure you like them. You'll spend 5-10 years of your life with them. You need to make sure that you want to work with them. The advice I think I would give myself walking into franchising, I think hire people. Like I said, franchising is a relationship-based business, and so your staff and your team really needs to know how to work with people and form those relationships with folks. I think that was a shock to me when I started here. I came from traditional retail and didn't realize how important those relationships were going to be to operating the model successfully. I was also surprised at how much teaching goes into a franchise. You spend a lot of time teaching operations and marketing and all of those things. So you have to be a great teacher to be a good franchisor. And finally, I think, you'll make mistakes. We've all done it and we all will. And the reality is, be honest about them. Work with your franchisees. When you've made a mistake or you need an opportunity to say, gosh, we should have done that different. I think it's really powerful to be vulnerable, to be a good partner to your franchisees. And also, they respect you and will be a better partner for you going forward when you can have those honest dialogues both ways in a franchise system.